Hello and welcome. Before we get started, I would like to ask you if you like the content, like and subscribe. Maybe even leave a comment on what you think of the video. Today, we're going to be looking at melodious divas. This is a deck I don't really play. So I'll be using a deck that I made back when Melodious Divas first came out. If any future support that came after I don't really use or don't have it. Because the story behind this deck is I got the box, used the gems that I got when the box came out. Let's run with whatever I got, basically. So this the deck right here. The deck that I use is basically one of her. She's very key to the deck. There is one of her. She's here for the power boosts, mostly. And I have her as well, because I was thinking it's good to have another level 2 tribute because I have this one, which can be 2 tributes at once. She's just the stall card that I use to keep opponents away from me until I can make something happen. Then I have Monster Reborn, Thunder, Lightning Vortex. I really don't use this card much, but I should more often. I have one of this card, and this for every fusion deck. Always have a polymerization at your side. This is both a power card and a fusion card for the deck. So polymerization can be taken out, but I would prefer to keep it in, just in case. And this right here is for just slipping past spell cards and trap cards. The trick behind this deck is, forgot to show the skill. This is the skill. It gives you this card, and this card in the deck, which is why I don't really use too many cards in the main deck. And so what I was saying in this, and 2 fairy just for drawing cards. But mainly what I was saying was the main thing of this deck is that you want to, how can I say it? You want to make a field that is immune to being destroyed by damage, by battle, by card effects, or by slipping past spell and trap cards. And most of these cards some of these are once per turn abilities or skills, so sometimes you're only gonna have it for once. For like example, this one right here only gives 800 attack until your next standby phase, or her, where she gives whatever she becomes fusion material for, being unable to be destroyed by battle damage, being by battle or card effects for the turn, until the end of that turn. This card right here is like, just if you don't have any cards, you can get a Melodious out of the deck. And as for the replays I have today, they're mostly just ones that I just did this morning. So I was just doing some rank ladder, just because. some of these are surrenders still because this deck I use is very fast paced and isn't very friendly toward anybody who comes against it, and it actually works. I did about 7 duels with this deck this morning, and 5 of them came out wins. This card right here is actually the highest used card in this deck for me. The main reason is because this card is it's just a card that just add attack points to for most of the time. I could say this one was interesting because honestly, other than me and maybe my brother, I've never actually faced off against someone that went pure Odeon strategy with Odeon. It's possible to win this way, it's true. But like, you have to take into account you're mostly using traps. So instead of using typical, like, normal traps, you mostly want to fill your deck with trap monsters so you can defend yourself afterwards. I'm actually in the middle of trying to make a trap trick deck using Odeon, because I'm not a big fan of Necro Valley, because one, they're my worst enemy. No, because half my decks rely on the graveyard, and also I really don't care how Necro Valley works. It's not my cup of tea. I'm thinking about actually remaking this deck of it, or making a second version of it with more cards, maybe even more scalability of skill. But honestly, I don't really know if that's necessary, being that it wins most fights it's in. Unless it's against certain decks that melodious divas have no reason to fight. The reason I'm not explaining these fights too much is because this deck just speaks for itself. It's more of a by the numbers melodious. Easy to get around if you know how to do it. But if you don't, then yeah, it's not going to be that easy to get around. Oh yeah, for this is the boss monster of the deck. You don't take battle damage from it. It can't be destroyed by battle. Only thing that you really have to worry about is like traps and spells, which is why the trap of this deck is very, very important. Because you want to keep her on the field as much as possible. On a side note, dude, being someone who's tried and actually made a Crystal Beast deck and only made it work just to get the cutscene, I know how hard it is to make one that works naturally. For the strategy you have to use with a field this small. I don't know how people who main Rainbow Dragon, if there is people out there who do that, but you gonna have to teach me what I'm doing wrong. 'Cause I cannot for the life of me make a good deck with that. Make a good deck with those cards. And another thing, let me stop this. No, pause for a second. This card right here cannot attack on the turn it's played, but that's why it's more of a fusion material card than a monster card, unless you know you're gonna have her on the field the next turn to attack with. I forgot to say that part. I'm be honest with you. I was nervous with this one because this was the first one I did, and I haven't touched this deck in at least a year, in at least like months. But I was very surprised at how efficient, that's the best way to put it, efficient this deck was at getting me used to it again. Might have been just because I had the best hand possible. Here it is. For this turn, this monster is not affected by much. Traps and spells can't even touch it this turn. But now that it's on my next turn, and out from here on, it's not. Those effects aren't on it anymore. See, in that one right there, he saw how that monster wasn't able to be touched by destroyed or disabled by anything, and immediately ran. Which makes sense. I wouldn't have done it myself, but it makes sense. Well, anyway, that was the get my words together. The melodious deck. I have a lot of decks in the works still, but I'm gonna go back to using my old, showing off some of my older decks that I still use. Might even, after showing them, upgrade them a bit. But other than that, hope you like the video, like and or subscribe. And I can't wait to show you more of my of this awesome game. Have a good day.